Our very own Christian Miller recently spent 10 days in Zambia, Africa, serving with African Vision Hope. We sit down with him and talk about his experiences there and a whole lot more on this episode of Here at Home. Welcome to the Here at Home podcast, a podcast about the people here at McGregor, their stories, their ministry, and their love for Jesus. My name is Mark Bricker, your host for the Here at Home podcast. And joining me on today's podcast, our very own executive producer, Christian Miller.
Well, hello there.
Man, this is awesome. I was hoping we could pull this off where you could be both guest and producer, and with your amazing technical abilities, piece of cake.
Well, I tried, so.
Well, so far, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
We're almost there.
So I love doing things a little bit different, and this is an opportunity because normally you might, every once in a while, I'll ask a question and you might bring your voice into the conversation. And actually, you have been a guest, but you weren't behind the desk. Yeah, you were sitting at the table, you and Jeff Eskridge, and we talked about social media in the church. But this is a lot different because you're still doing your producing responsibilities as well as guesting. I don't know if that's actually
Guesting.
Guesting.
Are you going to put that in the Urban Dictionary now?
Yep.
Guesting.
You want to guesting on my podcast? You're guesting.
Guesting.
But the reason I wanted you on here is because you are fresh off, relatively speaking, a 10-day experience on the mission field. And this is not your first trip to Zambia, Africa. I know that. But anytime somebody is just back from being a part of something like that, and I haven't really had a chance to sit down and talk with you about it yet. So I'm actually really looking forward to hear, all that you did while you were over there. So first of all, talk about the destination and the ministry that you are serving over there in Zambia.
Yeah. So I flew over to Lusaka, Zambia, which is like a 24-hour airplane ride, and so that was fun, very riveting.
Well, not just one airplane ride.
Yeah, it was three.
Multiple,
There's three, so that was a lot of fun. But the country of Zambia there's a lot of extreme poverty, and for some of the population, there's like no hope of getting out of that poverty. And so there's ministries like African Vision of Hope that are coming into these countries, and they're basically educating these kids to end the cycle of poverty.
Right. And an education can do a lot of that.
Yes.
Yes. So you've been there before, so this wasn't your first time there. And actually, we need to let our listeners know that African Vision Hope is a partner with McGregor Baptist Church. In fact, they are a long-term partnership. Probably at least 10 years, maybe, that they have been a part of our GIC, our Global Impact Celebration. And we haven't sent a ton of teams over there because it's a long way to go.
Yes, it is. It's very long.
But we have sent some, and but this time you were a team of one, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, was that hard?
No, I mean, I've done it before. I've done that whole track by myself, but I don't know. I guess when you get used to it, you get used to it. Yeah. So flying solo.
So you were there 10 days. Walk us through a little bit about some of the main things that you were doing as part of this mission 10 days.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, obviously I'm a little gifted when it comes to media stuff and content specifically. So I mainly focused on getting content for marketing and their magazine, stuff like that, and just being able to tell the different stories of the students that they are having an impact on.
They do produce a very nice looking magazine. Mm-hmm. Yes. In fact, I got a copy of that in the mail not too long ago. I enjoyed reading through that. Yeah, very well done piece. So you're over there shooting video, taking pictures, just capturing a lot of content. Was that all you did over there while you were there?
I was able to catch up with our, as McGregor, we sponsor one of their seminary students. So I was able to sit down and kind of do a little chat with him and see how school's going. And
what's his name?
His well, there's like 12 students. His name, man, it's very complicated, and of course you would put me on the spot like that.
Sorry about that. So how's it going for him?
He's doing good. He's almost done. So he's looking to see where he's going to basically teach, preach, and become a pastor after school, essentially.
Tell us a little bit about the seminary program that they have there.
Yeah. So usually a lot of these like guys they come to seminary and they kind of hope and pray that they can get themselves through the education and get through seminary. And so the cool thing with African Vision of Hope is they see the different students and how they're doing, and they basically help them by providing a scholarship. So
to provide, and when they finish, now this is separate from the school program, but this is really training pastors.
Yes.
That already live there, that can come get this experience and then go on and hopefully pastor churches correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how long have they had that seminary going? I know I'm asking a lot of questions that you didn't know I was going to ask you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that question.
A long time.
I think so. But, well, their schools have been around longer than seminary. So
yeah. Okay. Tell us a little bit about the schools and what they do in that area.
Yeah. So there's like 5 schools, kind of like scattered across Zambia, and all different places. One school is so far out that it takes like a 12-hour like ride from Lusaka.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I haven't visited that one, but I've visited majority of them. So, but it's really cool to see going out like 2 to 3 hours and how different even just the cultures and the different language and dialect that they use. I mean, they still use the same language, but it's a different dialect. So it's just, it can be completely different because people don't drive, and they're just confined to the area that they can walk around.
Yeah. So. What was one thing that was, because, having been there before, that stood out that was different this time for you, that you're like, wow, this really was.
Yeah. Okay. So the cool thing about African Vision of Hope is they have child protection officers, or CPOs. So their primary objective is to take care of these students. So, for instance, we were doing a house visit with one of the CPOs, and we were following up with a student that hasn't been showing up to school for a while. And so we visited her house, and we saw that she was home alone with with 3 of her other siblings, left with her 21-year-old brother to take care of them. And from there, the CPO was basically trying to figure out what's going on, where's her parents, and why isn't she at school? And then we found out that her dad was never in the picture, and her mom has been away for 6 months to go fishing and to basically go and sell the fish so that she can support her family and to provide rent. But she hasn't been there for the past 6 months, meaning they're 6 months late on rent, and their landlord was basically on the verge. I mean, that day, the day after, they were going to be evicted.
Wow.
So if we didn't intervene, they would have
lost
had nothing.
Their house, and they've been out on the streets. That was a neat God moment there, right?
Yeah, it was, because we were able to provide to basically not get them evicted, and then try to get them back into school. And by that point, they only ate just 2 to 3 meals a week, not a day, but a week. So with them going back to school, I mean, they get a hot lunch, and then
right.
they're able to eat.
Yeah.
And then also too, I think they gave the older brother a job to basically, be a groundskeeper at the school that his sister was going to.
Oh, that's awesome. So he's maybe incentivized not only to make sure she goes to school, but he's going to work.
Yeah.
That's neat. Any other stories like that you got to experience while you were there?
Yeah. Well, so the cool thing is, Avo's been around long enough that now their students have graduated and they've gone through college, and a lot of them are now teachers at the schools that they went to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
you're seeing people that are teaching that were in the schools.
Yeah.
When you were there before. Now, when did you go for the first time?
I went back in 2018.
2018. So 4 years ago. Okay. And so they've already gone through college. Now they're back.
Yeah.
How long does college take there? Is it a little shorter?
No, I haven't seen it, but like, it's cool to see.
Okay.
Like their students graduating
and then coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is very neat. How many students do they have in the schools? Do you know?
I don't know that number on top of my head.
But they have 5 schools?
Yes, it's a lot.
It's a lot. Really big schools.
That's a big number. Yes. And they keep on expanding, and they're also in the process of building a STEM school.
Oh, okay.
So, the best of the brightest of their students will be able to go to the STEM school. So,
science, technology, engineering and math?
Yep. Look at you. Wow.
I'm impressing you, aren't I?
No. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
I thought I had it. You plan on going back again?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love being over there, and I love reconnecting with everyone. And I also, on this past trip, I connected with Judy, the president of African Vision of Hope. And I
love Judy.
Yes. She's awesome. I mean, she started this whole organization, but she's also like the coolest down to earth person that you'll ever meet. So
yeah. Maybe we can get her on a Zoom call podcast sometime.
I think so.
That would be neat. We should have done it for this one. Can you call her up? No, just kidding.
Probably.
Probably. So planning on going back. Maybe next time you're over there, we do a remote podcast. And how's the technology over there? That's a good question. Do they have any kind of high speed internet?
No. No. Everything's cellular. I think as Americans, we are very entitled to, just surfing the web, and
we think it's our American right to have high speed.
Yeah, and that, and then also just unlimited. Nothing is unlimited over there.
Oh, so they're paying by the by the megabyte.
Yeah. So, yeah, you have to get bundles and basically pay for how much you use.
How fast? Is it like 3G, 4G? Where are they in the?
Depending on your carrier, it's like 4G.
Okay. So it's not bad.
No. Yeah. It just depends on where you're at.
Right. If you're far out in a rural area, it probably gets even worse. Yeah. So we could still pull it off maybe if we wanted to, if you're over there next time.
Maybe.
Or we just take a whole podcast team over there. And
you can come with me, Mark.
Yeah. It's that 24-hour plane ride.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It's not as young as I used to be.
It's a lot of fun, but it's like crazy.
What are the like where you stay while you're there? What are the conditions for teams that when they go?
Well, they just built a mission house.
Oh, that's awesome. So pretty nice then, huh?
Yes, it's nice.
Okay, good. Do you have hot water for shower?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Not this last time, but the time before, we stayed at seminary, and that for some strange reason the hot water heater wasn't working, and we went during the winter, and it was cold. Ooh. And trying to take a cold shower in the cold winter is not fun. But
I've been on a few mission trips in the day where we had no hot water. Yes. So I get that. But maybe that is something that our church looks at, and having a team going back there sometime in the near future. I'm sure they would love that. Anything else about the trip that stands out that you really like to share with our listeners?
I don't know. I would say,
what was something that God taught you this year on the trip?
That he taught me.
challenged you with, maybe even revealed to you about yourself? Sometimes you're on these trips and, it's an opportunity for him to speak into our lives through his word. And
I don't know. I feel like I was more focused on like, what can I do to like serve these kids? So I think that was kind of the mentality that I was thinking.
So what did your day look like then? I mean, I know you were taking pictures and videotaping, but I mean, is that all you did all day long, or what were some of the, really?
Yeah. Each day we, like had a different school to visit. And then from there, so we would visit the school, and I had a very, very long shot list. Like it was very long, and cause like I had to get this, I had to get that, I had to do this and do that. And, we had a family with us that was kind of doing like a vision trip. And so they were just kind of seeing what African Vision of Hope was doing.
Right.
So I had my shot list. And so like the team would go this way, one way, and then I would go in the opposite direction because I'm like, I need to get this stuff. I don't have time to wait.
They're always chasing after you.
Yeah. And then after we would visit the school, we would do just like house visits. And then from there we would travel back. One day we took some of the some of the 7th graders and the 5th graders on a field trip. And that was a lot of fun.
I bet.
Oh my goodness. It was a golf course that had animals just like going around walking, like there was zebras and giraffes.
A golf course.
Yeah.
Like a safari golf course.
Essentially.
It's like when they do those putt-putt golf courses where they have all the animals, but this is like real animals on a real golf course.
Yes, on a real golf course.
Like putt-putt all big and...
Yep. And we took some students from Kalikaliki, one of the schools, and those students have never like left the city or left the compound, and they were like, wow, I don't have to worry about like taking after my siblings and doing this and that. I can actually have fun and be a kid. So that was really cool to see that.
That sounds like it was a great trip for you, great experience. Anything else that you'd say, hey, this I'm different because of, that goes back to the question I didn't let you finish answering. I'm a little bit different because, or I'm a little stronger in my faith because of this trip.
I guess every single time that I do go, and we visit the compounds and we visit the different students, and just to see the living conditions that they're in. Literally there's some houses that are half the size of this room in the podcast studio, and it's just a shack, and like 6 to 12 people can be living in this one tiny little place that has no electricity, no running water. And but they're grateful, and they're grateful for everything that they have, and it's cool to see the faith that they have. And honestly, it's inspiring to see how they're living their lives, and to see how they're praising God, and how they are pursuing Him and loving Him. So even through everything that they've been through, they're still just strong. So
yeah, can bring a little bit of conviction in our own lives when we can get so easily distracted, and we have so many things. Perhaps that's why we get so easily distracted, but their faith is perhaps in some ways more pure and focused on the Lord than ours can be at times. So yeah, I can relate to that, because almost every time I come back from being a part of any kind of mission experience overseas, that's kind of the same reality as, wait a minute, how can they have such joy when they have so little? Well, it's because it's not dependent on their circumstances or their things. It's dependent upon the ultimate source of truth and joy, and that's Jesus Christ. And we let other things creep in our lives very easily, begin to make things idols, and begin to worship sometimes the wrong things. So yeah, good reminder for all of us, Christian. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I've also, I think this trip I came back and I redefined the word hungry. I feel like at least I've always used the word like hungry whenever like my stomach just feels uncomfortable, even though like I'm pretty sure I can go without food for longer than what my stomach feels.
Right.
So I think I came back and I was like, man, my stomach feels uncomfortable, or I'm uncomfortable. And I'm like, why are you uncomfortable? And people be like, why are you uncomfortable? And I'm like, well, I mean, you would say that I'm hungry, but I wouldn't say that I'm hungry because I know where my next meal is coming from.
Right.
I know that I have food. So.
Yeah. Did you experience some real hunger over there?
No.
No? Okay. I thought you were going to tell me I had to go a whole day. I was so busy and we didn't get to eat. And
no,
I mean, what you saw and what people there were experiencing,
yes.
without food.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we live in a state of abundance in so many areas, and food is one of them. Overabundance for a lot of people. So yeah, good word. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing that and kind of taking the time to be both producer and guest for the Here at Home podcast. And I thank you for all you do for all these podcasts. I know, obviously, from the Here at Home podcast, I appreciate that, but also Talk Truth and Beyond the Notes and many of our special edition podcasts that we drop on the McGregor podcast channel. Any words you'd like to say to our listeners, encouraging them to listen to our podcast, or anything coming up, or anything you want to share?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I put you on the spot there.
Yeah, you did.
But
I would say, I mean, it would be amazing if this is impacting your life, if you can leave a review. It does look really, really good when you guys leave reviews. And honestly, I want to know what do you like about our podcast?
Yeah, that's a good. I appreciate you saying that because we really would like that, to hear how we could make it better. And if you feel like there's some constructive criticism that you just, you can always email us. My email is mark.bricker@mcgregor.net, and Christian's is christian.miller@mcgregor.net. And
yeah,
we'd love to hear any feedback, but I know we've shifted from our subject of missions and onto the
next thing.
Other ministry that you're, and both of us are involved in, but I know you have a real heart to continue to use this ministry to edify the body of Christ, to encourage the body of Christ, to help the body of Christ grow. And that's why we have these multiple podcasts. The Here at Home podcast is designed to be just really a time of encouragement, but the Talk Truth, as well as the Beyond the Notes, as well as the sermons on Sunday, those are all designed to encourage discipleship and spiritual growth. Can be used in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So, yep. And who knows? There may be some new ones coming down the pike in the not too distant future. So you always want to make sure you're subscribed to McGregor Podcast, and you never know what might show up in your feed.
This is true.
Oh boy, over there playing with your toys. All right. Well, I think that means we probably ought to wrap up this episode of Here at Home. So, Christian, thank you for joining me, and thanks to our listeners also for being a part of our Here at Home podcast community. And we'll see you in a couple weeks right back here at home.